Hi, this is Dina for Splitcoaststampers. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make these glass pendants to preserve photos, artwork, and printed papers. I've typically made these to showcase photos and artwork, but you can use printed papers as well. I like the index on the front of this paper pad, so that's what I'm using on this particular project. I like to use photo paper, but I've done these with book pages, wrapping paper, and gel prints as well. And you'll just cut to the size of your glass piece or just slightly larger. You'll want to make sure your glass is clean, so use a little rubbing alcohol to get any dust or fingerprints off the back. And then you're going to coat the back of the glass piece with a white PVA glue. This one is called Glamour Seal, and I've used it for years, but there are some other options as well that we'll talk about. You'll want a good coverage so you don't end up with any dry pockets or air bubbles. Once you've got it glued, you'll flip the glass piece glue side down onto your artwork and press it down firmly. I like to kind of wiggle it into place, and then I press straight down on the piece for about 10 seconds, and that pressure will push out all the little air bubbles to the sides. For best results, you don't want any air bubbles trapped in there because they'll create little dark and shiny spots, and I'll show you what that looks like later on. Once you've got the glass in place, you'll set it aside to dry. This one has sat for several hours, so I can trim the edges away, and you can use scissors to do this or a craft knife and just get right up to the edge of the glass to trim away the excess paper and glue. You can find these glass cabochons on Etsy and other sites, and they are often sold in sets with a matching metal tray that has a bail or loops to attach to jewelry or a keychain. If you can't find those and you have a dollar store near you, you can even do this with those flat-backed marbles that they have with the vases for floral arranging. The trays are nice because they're sized to fit the glass shapes just right, and they hide the edges of the paper. I'm using E6000 glue to set this one in place, and you can also use red liner tape, which is a really strong double-sided adhesive. I mentioned that I make pendants with my artwork, so here are a few more that I made because I needed to restock a couple of designs for an upcoming show. I have used that other adhesive for years since it was recommended to me, but I thought I'd try out the Barely Art glue, and I was really impressed with these results as well. It flowed really nicely and it set well, and I didn't have any air bubbles, so I think I'll be using that in the future. I really like this tip for application as well. These images are printed on photo paper, and I like to use photo paper because the printing is so clear and the ink doesn't bleed, but there are certain photo papers that won't allow the glue to adhere, so you might need to do some experimenting to make sure the paper you have will work, and I'll show you what it looks like when it doesn't work so you can know what to look for and you can test before you print. I'm working on the release paper from a label sheet, and I typically work on either this or a non-stick sheet so I can peel these up easily after they dry. I wanted to mention too, if you print or paint or stamp an image, make sure that the ink you use is compatible with water-based glue. I have had colors run and bleed before, and it's very sad to put time into a project and then ruin it with glue, so do think ahead before you color. These are hybrid inks I'm just using to put a little color on this paper, and this is photo paper that doesn't work. This was a free pack of photo paper that came with some Canon printer ink, and I don't think it's necessarily a quality issue, I just think it's a difference in the coating. Anyway, as soon as I press this onto the paper, you can start to see the paper resisting the glue, and it will show up in 100 little bubbles, which will dry as little shiny and dark spots. You can see it better here in the still photo. So if you're unsure about your photo paper, test a small area first with glue and glass, and you can wash the glue off of the glass and use it again, but you don't want to print a whole bunch of images and then not be able to use them. This visual also is really bad, but I wanted you to see what happens when an air bubble gets trapped. See that little flashing spot at the top? If that happens to you, you can peel the paper right off the back, and if the glue sticks, you can soak it in water to get it loose, and then just peel and clean it off, and it will be ready to use again. Here is one more thing. If you don't have the metal trays, you can use a metal bail on the back of your glass piece. You'll want to seal the paper in with a coat of diamond glaze or glossy accents, some kind of clear acrylic glaze, and then press the bail into the glaze, let it dry, and then add another coat over the bail and the back surface to hold it all in place. So here are a few examples of what can be done with these. I've got a sweet keepsake of some coloring my daughter did when she was small, some artwork on a keychain, a keepsake photo, and a beautiful necklace. If you have questions, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching.